What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Seamus Brady. In this video, we're just going to do a roundup of all the football action which happened over the weekend in the GAA Championship, starting with the game which really caught my eye. Derry continuing their fantastic form, beating Monaghan by 312 to 17 points. I mean, the atmosphere, first of all, in Celtic Park up in Derry looked electric. The amount of Derry fans that were there, the atmosphere, the belief that they could turn Monaghan over was really staggering. There's such a momentum behind Derry football right now. And when you consider they were in Division 4 not that long ago, they just got relegated to Division 4. The atmosphere was so dead around the country about what Derry football was at. They get promoted back to Division 3. Rory Gallagher takes over, and look where they are now. I mean, they've beaten Tyrone, the All-Ireland champions, and they didn't just beat them. They mopped the floor with them. They beat them by 11 points in Healy Park in Omagh. And now they've doubled down on that by beating Monaghan, a side which have stayed in Division 1 for another year. And again, they beat them by 4 points. So, look, they're fantastic. They're really, really good. Their system is excellent. They've got, such a strong midfield there, Conor Glass and Emmett Bradley. Bradley was actually injured. Niall Toner came in for him. Bradley came on later and scored one of the best solo points I think I've ever seen. Their system is so good. They all drop back. They've got, I think it's Garrett McKinless. He is a fantastic centre-back. He is fantastic. He drops back and sits behind the defence. And then the forwards drop back to create the first line defence. Then they've got Conor Glass. They've got the likes of Niall Toner. And then they've got Garrett McKinless just sitting there sweeping up everything. And he read pretty much every ball that was kicked into Jack McCarran and to Conor McManus. He just read it, swept up across. And yeah, he was fantastic. And he scored the opening goal for Derry. Just a powerful run. He spotted the gap, spotted the space, burst through, used all his power and pace, and buries it past Rory Beggan into the back. And a fantastic goal. And that really set the momentum really in play for Derry. Even though Monaghan responded well, some nice points from McManus. McCarran was held to only scoring from frees, which shows, just how good the Derry defence is as well. You got the likes of Chrissy McCaig there. You got the likes of Brendan Rodgers. They can man-mark pretty much anyone out of the game. And yeah, so look, after that, Benny Heron got the second goal for Derry. Well set, I think, so Oran Lynch comes out, the Derry goalkeeper. Monaghan just back off, just allow Lynch to come, thinking he doesn't have that much ability. Lynch pings it outside the boot ball, all the way down to Niall Toner, who catches it over Conor Bull, who is very poor for that, in my opinion. Bull got caught under the ball. Toner gets it, squares it to Benny Heron, bang, back of the net. And the atmosphere is just crazy. They just fully believe that they're just going to push Monaghan over. It's crazy now, the energy and the momentum that's behind him. And Rory Gallagher on the sideline, you can see what it means to him, the passion. He is loving it. And yeah, so then Derry go on to win. Benny Heron getting the second goal for him, the third goal for Derry in the second half. Came at a crucial time because Monaghan were actually pushing and getting some scores on the board. Heron does a 1-2 with, I think it was Shane McGuigan, gets the ball back. The shot he takes has a bit of a deflection on it, but it goes into the top corner. Third goal for Derry, and they were really home and hose at that point. Monaghan hit the last 4 points, but it wasn't enough. Derry 312, Monaghan 17 points. Derry Donegal now in the Ulster final for the first time since 2011. And really, I can't wait for it. I really can't. I think that's going to be one of the best Ulster finals in years. The momentum Derry are coming with, and then Donegal are almost flying under the radar at this point now, which is crazy. But yeah, full preview for that game coming here on Play on GAA. So make sure you catch that. I can't wait for it. Other than that, in the Munster Championship, Tipperary played Limerick in the Munster semi-final for the rights to play Kerry in the Munster final. I predicted Limerick would win this game, and they did. 2-10 to 10 points. To be fair to Tipperary, they've been absolutely decimated by players leaving the squad. There was only 3 players starting against Limerick that started in the 2020 Munster final that they won against Cork. I mean, that says everything. When you take the likes of Michael Quinlivan, Colin O'Riordan, Josh Keane out of a side, what do you think is going to happen? It's crazy how many players they've lost, and I feel for David Power because there's the perception that the talent should be there and they should be doing better, but they've really lost a lot of players. The black card to the wing-back Sean O'Connell, I think that was crucial, but Limerick's 2 goals. The first one from Josh Ryan turned in Brian Donovan's saved effort, and then Brian Donovan got a goal for himself in the second half, finishing Tipperary off with that goal, in my opinion. 2-10 to 10 points. Limerick going to play Kerry, but to be honest, even though they've been superb, I didn't see enough that I think they're gonna challenge Kerry. But it's a great day out for them, and Billy Lee has done a sensational job with Limerick, turning them around from really a stale Division 4 team into a thriving Division 2 team now. He's been fantastic. And then moving to the Leinster Championship, 2 games that were back-to-back in Croke Park. The first being Kildare Westmeath, which was a bit of a mad game. And the defending was absolutely terrible, but the attacking was absolutely brilliant. A goal directly from the throw-in. Ronan Wallace, powerful run, sets up Ronan O'Toole, who tucks it in the back of the net. And then Kildare responded pretty quickly. They got 3 points on the board to go only 1 behind after Westmeath registered a point themselves. And then Kildare got their opening goal. A poor kick out by Daly, won by Kevin Flynn, set up Daniel Flynn, who squared it across the goal to Jimmy Hyland, who palmed it into the back of the Westmeath net. Westmeath got a goal themselves in the first half towards the end. Jamie Gnu did a 1-2 with Ronan Wallace and soccer style kicked it into the back of the net. But in my opinion, Westmeath never really looked like they were going to actually win. Kildare kind of held them at arm's length and saw the game out. It's just like last year, though. Kildare, they beat Westmeath not by that much, and they're going into a Leinster final against Dublin now. I can't see them beating Dublin. I mean, everyone's going to be like, oh, what about the league? What about the league? Dublin wiped the floor with Kildare in last year's Leinster final, and Croke Park makes a difference. The pitch makes a difference, and Newbridge was made for Kildare that day. It was such a tight pitch, the atmosphere, the perception of Dublin slipping, which we were. It was set up for Kildare to beat Dublin that day. The Leinster final, in my opinion, is not set up for Kildare to beat Dublin. And speaking of Dublin, they mopped the floor with Meath, 127 to 114. Just a humiliation for Meath. Worse than 2020, in my opinion, because Dublin were supposed to be going backwards. 127 they hit. Like, that is absolutely crazy to hit that. And Meath never, ever, ever look competitive. They never look competitive. Like, and then even then to throw misery on top of it, Jordan Morris getting red carded, Jack Lynch getting red carded, and Jack Lynch actually looked pretty good when he came off the bench. Dublin looked pretty much flawless. Like, the performances from the likes of Brian Fenton, James McCarthy, Cormac Costello, Con O'Callaghan, they look brilliant, and they're adding something new to their game. The penalty was won by a long kick into Con O'Callaghan by Brian Fenton. O'Callaghan is one of the best fielders in the country, so that's another ace up the sleeve for Dublin potentially. But for me, like, where did they go from here? Like, it's just, in my opinion, ever since McEntee's come in, it's been 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And they seem to unearth a player and then 4 leave the panel. So they really need, in my opinion, someone new to come in and just to give them a bit of stability, like a Rory Gallagher did with Derry. Just get a crop of players together, get them believing in something. Because I genuinely think by that performance and by the performances over the years, me do not believe they can beat Dublin. Like, they don't play like they believe they can beat Dublin. They just roll over for them. Is that like the Cork and Kerry game? Cork showed for 50 minutes some serious passion, and we're not going to roll over for Kerry. Meath rolled over from the start, and I'd be really disappointed if I was a Meath fan. Going into the Leinster final, Dublin against Kildare, as I mentioned, I think Dublin are going to win, but there will be a full preview coming here on Play on GAA for how Kildare can potentially upset the Dubs for the second time in 2022. Guys, that is the football wrap up here on Play on GAA. Before I go, big shout out to Tyrone, who won the Under-20 All-Ireland Championship. Rory Canavan looks like one hell of a player. Michael McLean in the full forward is an absolute tank. Niall Devlin at wing back, super player as well. Conor Cush looks like a promising player at wing forward too. They beat a very, very strong Kildare side in the final, comfortably enough. They looked in charge for the majority of the game. They're one of the best under-20 sides I've seen. It's a big thing to say, obviously recency bias and all. But Rory Canavan looks as good a player as I've seen at that level. He's absolutely fantastic. And Michael McLean is like a real problem. He just bounces players out the way. He could be a real target man for Toronto in the future. So keep an eye on them. That's the wrap up here on Play on GAA, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. It really helps us out. And take care.